All right, good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining our special briefing. I'm meteorologist Adam Baker here at the National Weather Service, and we'll get going here. All right, so what has changed from yesterday afternoon and evening? The main changes with this system is that it's increased its speed to the northeast, and it's a bit stronger with the sustained winds. It remains not quite organized around the center, so that's why it's still unnamed. That being said, the impacts remain similar to what we expect, even though it's not a named system right now. It is forecast to gain some intensity and organization later today, but even if that changes a little bit, the impacts for central Georgia mainly are still expected to continue from previous thought. The big ones really are going to be some strong gusty winds, not quite tropical storm strength because it will be decreasing as it moves across the state, and then especially we're going to focus the south and eastern portions of central Georgia because we still cannot rule out some isolated tornadoes, and especially with any rain bands that come on shore. So keep in mind that overall certainty of this system is fairly high in the track. The intensity itself could waver a little bit, so there's a little bit less certainty with that aspect. So impacts can still be felt outside of where the center of this storm does track. Here's a loop of the current satellite view from the last hour. The actual what could be a center of this storm here pretty soon is shifted west of where you see this main complex of thunderstorms. So you don't really see much circulation with it, and they've been flying through this trying to find a center point with everything, but that's the reason why it hasn't been named. So it is lacking some of that structure to it. As of 11 a.m., maximum sustained winds are 60 miles per hour, and it is moving fairly quickly to the northeast at 22 miles per hour. The forecast, when it is expected to make landfall in the panhandle of Florida by tomorrow morning at around 60 mile per hour, so not much change in intensity, and then decrease to about 40 mile per hour sustained winds by Saturday evening before it exits to our far eastern portions. So regardless of this system being unnamed, like I said, versus named, the possible impacts to portions of Georgia remain the same for pretty much early Saturday morning into the evening. Okay, so if we break down the threats, our confidence is fairly high in this. Nothing's really that high of a threat, but if we were to pick something, the strong gusty winds in central Georgia and eastern North Georgia would probably be the main thing. Due to its motion being so fast, rainfall and flooding isn't that big a concern. We'll look at the latest forecast across the area for that, but southeastern, the far southeastern part of central Georgia, we're going to focus on any isolated tornado potential later in the day tomorrow with this too. But again, nothing is very high as far as threat goes. Okay, so here's the wind speed probabilities and timing of most likely arrival time of any tropical storm force winds. The big thing here is that probabilities for our southern and eastern parts of the area haven't changed that much. We're still pretty much in the 30 to 40% chance. That's why we haven't gone with any tropical storm watch or warning for our area. It is supposed to decrease some as it moves onshore. That being said, even though sustained winds are decreasing, we do still have some forecast strong wind gusts across the area that could begin as close as 8 a.m. tomorrow morning and then decrease in the far eastern portions by the evening. So here's maximum wind gusts at any point during the day on Saturday. Again, focus in the far southeast here. There's a fairly strong gradient where it does increase, but generally speaking, we're 30 to 40 mile per hour gusts. And then in the far southeast, it could gust as high as 45 to 50. These aren't sustained winds, these are gusts. And so the big thing here is that, yeah, there probably will be some downed trees and limbs with these values. We're likely going to issue a wind advisory. with future updates here. And that advisory, again, we're still fine-tuning things, but it could go pretty much near Columbus, maybe a tier of counties north of there, and then kind of follow this yellow zone right here between the 25 and 30 mile per hour. I don't think it would go as far north as the Atlanta metro. We're going to focus more where the stronger gradient winds could be with this. So keep up to date with our forecast update this afternoon, because we'll get some more details on that. Here's the expected storm total rainfall. So this is a 2-day total ending tomorrow night. Again, we're not expecting widespread flooding with this. Can't rule out some isolated flooding, especially if rain bands kind of train over the same area for a bit. It could be, I would say, widespread 1.5 to 2, possibly 2.5 inches in the south and east. We could have locally higher if we do have some of those training heavier showers or storms. If we zoom in, here's how to break down across the counties. Just a little bit closer view here, generally 1 to 2 inches with locally higher possible. Here's a Storm Prediction Center severe weather outlook. You can see here that they did expand the marginal risk in the far southern and eastern portions of our area. With this kind of system, if you get anywhere on the right side of where any center of the circulation would be, it's usually more favorable for isolated tornadoes. We don't think anything really widespread with this system, but just to give you a heads up that we could have a few pesky circulations dealing with going into the day tomorrow, and that marginal area is the best chance for that. Here's simulated radar reflectivity. This is one of the models, just to show you a breakdown. As we get pretty widespread showers across most of the area. The heaviest showers in development, if you can see some of these banding features starting to occur coming off the coast, that could be kind of the problem child that we have to really focus on. If we get heavier rainfall or any isolated circulations or tornadoes with that, just to show you a few of these features that the models pick up on. But regardless of these rain bands, that wind swath that we looked at there, we're still going to have some fairly strong gusts throughout the day. Okay, just key takeaways with this. Even though the system remains unnamed, it's still forecast to gain some intensity and organization later today, and could be named later today. But even if it's not named, even if there's a chance that doesn't happen, it doesn't mean that the impacts change for our area. So I just want to make sure we're all on the same page with that. We're still expecting pretty strong gusty winds. We're expecting below tropical storm levels, but it should be pretty solid wind advisory levels. So expect a potential wind advisory coming out with future updates here based on those wind gusts tomorrow. And as far as widespread rainfall goes, should be just a good soaker, not expecting much flooding given how fast the system's moving. And then again, cannot rule out some isolated tornadoes in the far southeastern portions of central Georgia tomorrow. All right, so all the slides should be up on this link. We are not planning any webinars following this, but we will be updating you based on the 5 p.m. and 5 a.m. updates with the track and intensity. So look for those. And I did attach a PDF to the handouts on this call. So at this point, I'll open it up for any questions.